iPhone SE 2020 versus iPhone 11 speed test coming up. Let's go. So let's begin this test with a boot up in 3, 2, 1 and see which one can get there faster. Now, the iPhone SE does have the Apple A13 Bionic chip, just like the iPhone 11, but you should keep in mind that the iPhone SE also has 3 GB of RAM, whereas the iPhone 11 has 4 GB of RAM. So we'll see if that makes any difference in our total benchmark scores or total app tests. We'll see what happens. But the iPhone SE says, not today, big bro. I'm gonna boot up faster than the iPhone 11. Okay guys, and when it comes to biometrics, we can't really test them side by side, but you do have Touch ID on here, and you can see it's just blazing fast for the iPhone SE. And what's nice about it is that if you're not looking at it, you can still press it and go right in as long as you put your finger on that fingerprint sensor. So there's a convenience factor there. Now with the iPhone 11, you need to look at the iPhone 11 for it to go in. And sometimes it will miss depending on how you're looking, but for the most part, it's like 99% accurate. But there is a, when you look at it, you have to swipe up to get in. So it's a little bit slower, I think, than Touch ID, because Touch ID, you can be pulling it out of your pocket and already have your finger on the scanner and already be in by the time you open the phone up. But the Face ID scanner is more secure, so keep that in mind. Also, I think another advantage to the Touch ID scanner though is that when it's placed on a table, you can just press it to go in if you do have your phone laying flat on your bed or on a table or on a desk or something like so. So confirming the software, both the iPhone SE and the iPhone 11 are running iOS 13.4.1. So they are on the latest official versions as of the recording of this video. Okay guys, so here we are on the home screens and you could see everything closed out for iPhone 11, everything closed out for iPhone SE 2020. Let's go to clock. You can see very similar, but the iPhone 11 is always gonna feel faster to go home because it does have gestures, which feels smoother and quicker. Let's go to calculator. Pretty similar. You can see how the iPhone 11 goes home. You can see weather, pretty similar, like the iPhone had that, the 11. Let's go into App Store. You can see about the same. Now, both of these are A13, so we should expect about the same performance. And overall, doing fantastic. This should make you happy seeing how quick that SE is over there. Let's go to PUBG Mobile at $399 versus $699 on this iPhone 11. But keep in mind, you are paying for a Face ID, more modern looking design versus an older shell here on this iPhone. But which one's gonna win it out? We'll have to see. Looks like the SE 2020 was about the same as the 11. We'll hit start here and see which one can match up first. But gaming is a big update for the SE 2020. If you're comparing it to like an iPhone 7, a 6S, 5S, one of those older devices, if you're coming up to the new chip, you're gonna love it here in gaming. Both very fast when it comes to this element of these phones. I tried to swipe it away like it had gestures. Let's go into Dead Trigger 2 and you could see which one gets here first. About the same, so looking good. I mean, this is what we want to see. We want to see about the same performance on both. So let's go to Dead Trigger 2 here and see which one is quicker, and we'll go to hit play and they should go in at a similar time. iPhone 11 a little bit quicker there, but overall, I mean, gameplay, it's gonna come down to, like I said, with the XR. Do you want the bigger screen or do you want the smaller screen with the same type of performance? I mean, it really comes down to you, but a lot of people do like the bezels for holding on for a game. But for me, I would prefer the larger screen if gaming was my forte. Let's go into Instagram and you can see Instagram, iPhone 11 there, but not really by much. I mean, not enough to say it's way faster. Both of them are very smooth here. The touch sample rate seems to be a little bit smoother on the iPhone 11 though. Neither of these are 90 Hertz displays though. So keep in mind when you are using these, they're not gonna feel like those 90 Hertz Android phones or those, 120 Hertz Android phones. They're a little bit slower to scroll, but they're still very smooth due to iOS. So very good performance on both there on Instagram. Let's go into Twitter here and see which one is faster. And you could see it was the iPhone SE 2020. We'll hit profile page, very similar there. And let's go into eBay. And you could see that's the iPhone SE 2020. So the iPhone SE 2020 keeping up easy with iPhone 11. And that's what you want. That's what you want to know, isn't it? I mean, for $399, is it as fast as an iPhone 11? And you're seeing, yes, it is. Let's go into Geekbench. And that one goes to the iPhone 11. And there goes the SE and Antutu. and we'll see which one is faster here. Looks like we'll get this ad here first, but it looks like the iPhone 11 is a little bit quicker here on Antutu, and then comes the SE. But I would say overall pretty much even Steven on the apps. Day to day, you're getting about the same performance as the iPhone 11 moving through these applications. So let's see how they do perform when it comes to reopening these applications. Now, I found that with the 8 Plus at 3 gigs of RAM, as well as, you know, the iPhone XR, that also sometimes would reload stuff, but I'm having the same deal with the iPhone 11. So I think as you get a lot of apps open, both of these phones are going to reload stuff, but here on the iPhone 11, the 4 gigs of RAM won't really seem to make a big deal of a difference. I really didn't notice it between this and even the XR, but what you really notice is just how smooth it feels to fling iOS around off those gestures. That's more noticeable, I think, than the 3 to 4 gigs of RAM. And considering this is a bigger screen, it's probably, and considering that this has 4 gigs of RAM, I don't think that's a selling point of the iPhone 11 versus this iPhone SE 2020, because at that size of a phone, you probably don't need more than 3 gigs, especially running iOS on here. And so let's run a quick SunSpider JavaScript test just to kind of see how they do when it comes to just their internet Safari performance. Now, the SE 2020 has been going to school on a lot of these iPhones. We got 102 on here and 104, slightly quicker on the internet than the iPhone 11. So this is a little powerhouse beast 4.7-inch iPhone SE right here. Okay guys, so we do have the same clips on here, 1 minute 3 seconds. We're gonna render these out in iMovie to see which one is gonna do it faster. Now I'm gonna do it in 4K on both devices, so I'll be back when they are done exporting. And wow, that was pretty close. I'm gonna call that about a draw. So video rendering should be a pretty similar affair on both of these, whether you're using iMovie or LumaFusion, both with powerful chipsets. Let's go ahead now and run a Geekbench test, and I will see which one has the better performance. Now you can see right here, the clock speed is 2.66 gigahertz on this Bionic, and this one 2.65. That's about the same. 2.88 gigs of RAM, 3.75 available according to Geekbench. Let's go ahead and hit run benchmark and we'll be back when they are done. And this is the first iPhone to beat this SE 2020 when it comes to Geekbench in the testing time it took to test it, and also in the single and multi-core, the iPhone 11 scoring slightly higher, but that is not going to make any difference. I'm calling these about equal performance. Let's go into Antutu and I'll be back when these testings are done. And so the iPhone 11 also scores higher in Antutu benchmark. So you can see definitely scoring higher benchmarks, but at the end of the day, iPhone SE or iPhone 11, which is quicker? I think the iPhone 11 is slightly quicker and it feels slightly smoother as well, especially when you come out of applications like I mentioned earlier. Both of these phones are absolute powerhouses though, and it's going to come down to, do you want that wide angle camera? Do you want the bigger, more modern design of iPhone 11? I still think the iPhone 11 is still very appealing, even though the iPhone SE 2020 came out. But this phone is awesome in its price range. So that's it between the iPhone SE 2020 and iPhone 11. Which are you going to choose? I'm curious to know. Comment down below and be subscribed so you can see the full comparison coming soon. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to be well, stay safe, and peace.